Hello students, welcome for this new sessions of 18 Math 21, that is Engineering Mathematics 2 as prescribed by VTU. Okay. Once again, in this entire subject, we have again 5 modules. Let me give a brief introduction of each of the modules, then we can actually start with the syllabus. Okay. So in module 1, we'll be learning about vector calculus, which is basically concerned with vector differentiation and vector integration and the applications of it. Okay. Then in module 2, we are working for differential equations. Already you all have learned differential equations before, but now we'll be learning we'll be learning second and higher order ordinary differential equations with constant coefficients. Okay. And various methods to solve all those equations. Okay. And the applications of it. In module 3, we are dealing with partial differential equations. Okay. Previously, in previous semester, you have already learned about partial differentiation. Now you will be learning how to frame the PDE, that is partial differential equation, and how to solve a PDE, homogeneous and non-homogeneous PDE, and also we'll be deriving heat and wave equations of one dimension. Okay, using all that. Then in module 4, we'll be working for infinite series of positive terms, convergence and divergence by Cauchy's root test and D'Alembert's ratio test. Okay, after that we'll be dealing with the power series solution of the differential equations, basically the Bessel's differential equation and Legendre's differential equation, and we'll be deriving certain important results out of these solutions for Bessel's and Legendre's differential equations. Okay, all those topics are very important. Coming to exam module 5, in module 5 will be learning about numerical methods. What are these numerical methods? We'll be learning how to differentiate a given function numerically. Okay, means what, will be given the set of points through which given any function is passing. Okay, and you'll be asked to find the derivative of that function using that data, okay, at a given point. Okay, so you have various methods to solve it by interpolation, extrapolation, and various formulas also, like Newton's forward, backward interpolation formula, Newton's divided difference formula, and also Lagrange's method of solving for numerical differentiation. Okay, then we also have numerical integrations in this. In numerical integration, you basically have only 3 methods, that is Simpson's 1/3 rule, Simpson's 3/8 rule, and Wedel's rule. And after that, you have the solution of polynomials and transcendental equations, basically by Newton-Raphson method and Regula-Falsy method. Okay, only these 2 methods are there in your syllabus. Okay, so let us start directly with the syllabus. See here, I am going to start directly with the second module. Okay, then we'll come back to the first module. Okay, first we'll cover the second module, which is very important because second, third modules, they both are connected. If you know second module, you can easily solve the third module. I mean, some part of it is connected to it. Okay, and after that, this is independent, purely independent, so we can solve it. And also this solution, okay, the Bessel's differential equation, Legendre's differential equation, the power series solution of it also is like completely independent to what we have gone to learn. We are going to learn it previous this. Okay, then in numerical methods, it's completely a numerical solution, so you don't have to worry about it. Only thing is that you have to pay attention towards this module 2 because it's one of the important topics, and even the module 1. Okay, all these are very important topics for you in your, not only in engineering mathematics but other subjects, they all use these concepts. So I suggest you to pay more attention towards all of these important topics that you are learning in M2. Okay, now let us continue with the module 2, wherein we are learning linear differential equations of higher order with constant coefficients. Now, as the name suggests, that we are learning a linear differential equation. What do you mean by linear? The degree of that differential equation will always be 1, and of higher order means what? The order of that differential equation will be higher or second. Okay, with constant coefficients. The coefficients of all the derivatives and the variables will be constant. That is the variable y, I should say. Okay, so we have to, yes, let us consider the standard form of nth order linear differential equation. Okay, so a differential equation of the form, a differential equation of the form, see here, nth derivative of y with respect to x plus a constant a1 dn minus 1, that is n minus 1 the derivative of y with respect to x, plus a2 n minus 2 derivative of y with respect to x, okay, plus so on, plus now see if it is if it is 2 a2 over here n minus 2, so if I write a n minus 1 it will be dy by dx plus a n y, okay, is equal to phi of x. Call this as equation 1. So this represents the standard nth order linear differential equations with constant coefficients. Here a1, a2, a3 so on up till an are constants. Okay, so this represents your linear differential equations of, here the order is n, you see the nth order is present, the highest order derivative present in this differential equation is n, so it is a nth order linear differential equation of yes, with constant coefficients. Okay, now this is the standard form. Okay, once we are done with the standard form, I hope everyone has understood what is the standard form. Okay, once we have learned what is the standard form, now let us understand the types of linear differential equations. Okay, the types, the second part in this is types. Okay, basically there are two types. One is homogeneous and the other is non-homogeneous. Okay, yes, there are two types basically. First is homogeneous, the second one is non-homogeneous. So when do you say the equation, the standard form of this differential equation I have already given to you. When do you say this equation is homogeneous and when do you say this is non-homogeneous? Okay, you see the equation 1 contains the right hand side as phi of x. If phi of x in equation 1, okay, if phi of x is equal to 0, I will say in equation 1, then equation 1 is called a homogeneous differential equation. A homogeneous differential equation. Okay, homogeneous differential equation, that is DE I am writing in short. Okay, similarly if phi of x is not equal to 0, means other than 0, any constant or any function of x is appearing in place of phi of x, then we say it is the given in the equation 1, then the equation 1 is called a non-homogeneous differential equation. A non-homogeneous differential equation. I hope this is clear to everyone. Okay, what do you mean by homogeneous differential equation? What do you mean by non-homogeneous differential equation? Now after this there are some standard notations that we'll be using throughout this module that I'll be doing now. So you have to pay attention, step by step I'll be giving you what notations we are using. Okay, throughout this module we will be using in equation 1, okay, in equation 1 we put every small d by dx as capital D. This is one of the standard notations that we'll be using all the time throughout this module. Okay, so d by dx, if I am substituting as capital D, then what should be d square by dx square? Will it not be capital D square? Similarly, d cube by dx cube will be d cube. Likewise, d nth derivative of, okay, dn by dxn will be d raised to n, is it not? So we'll do these substitutions in equation 1, okay, so as to get the equation something like this. Okay, I'm telling you the first part is the nth derivative of y with respect to x, so it will be here there are notations. Now the third point is notations. Okay, so we are using, okay, of equation 1. So you have to pay attention to each and every point. So it is nth derivative of y, so dny plus the second was a1, the constant was there, then n minus 1 the derivative of y, that is dn minus 1 of y, plus there was a second constant, that is a2, n minus 2 the derivative of y we had, plus we had continued it so on, plus we had got an minus 1, n minus 1th constant and first derivative of y d, okay, plus an into y, okay, is equal to phi of x. We had got it something like this. Okay, now look at this. I can take everywhere y is there. Look at this on the left hand side. I can take it common and rewrite my equation as d raised to n plus a1 into d raised to n minus 1 plus a2 into d raised to n minus 2 plus so on, plus an minus 1 d plus an. With all of this there is a y, okay, is equals to phi of x. I can rewrite the equation like this. Okay, now this part, this complete thing is nothing but a function of d for me, is it not? Rest everything, I mean the bracket, the square bracket which I have written on the left hand side, I can represent is as a function of d, it as a function of d. So I can write f of d as d raised to n plus a1 d raised to n minus 1 plus so on plus an. I'll call it as f of d, so that this equation, okay, represent as f of d of y is equal to phi of x. Call this as equation 2. Okay, so these are some important notations that we'll be taking. So first amongst them is d by dx as capital D. Okay, and then onwards, after when we substitute it, you get this equation 2. Okay, so these are some important notations that you should be remembering all the time. Okay, now let us move on to the solution of a homogeneous differential equation. Okay, now let us consider the solution of a homogeneous differential equation. Okay, how do you take the solution of a homogeneous differential equation? Okay, so I told you if the right hand side of equation was to be 0, then we get a homogeneous differential equation. To start with, I am considering a second order linear differential equation, then we'll generalize it for the entire this. Okay, so let us consider a second order linear differential equation. Okay, second order linear differential equation. Okay, and that too homogeneous in particular. Why? Because this time, okay, there are two types for you to learn. One is homogeneous and the other is non-homogeneous. Okay, homogeneous. So here we are concerned, first let us understand how to take homogeneous, then later on we'll study how to take the solution for non-homogeneous as well. Okay, so let us consider a second order linear differential equation. A second order linear differential equation can be written like this: d square y by dx square, where you just have to put n is equal to 2. Okay, that equation 1 you have, no, you substitute n is equal to 2, you get a second order linear differential equation. N is equal to 2 means d square y by dx square plus a1 into dy by dx plus a2y is equals to 0, because we are concerned with homogeneous, so the right hand side should be 0. Okay, after this you put every d by dx as capital D. Okay, so this was the notation I told you to remember, right? So now you have to substitute that same thing here. So you get d square y plus a1 dy plus a2y is equals to 0. Now you can take once again y common like this, of y is equal to 0. Okay, now the bracket whatever you are having, this is your f of d, that is equal to d square plus a1d plus a2. Okay, now what you have to do here is you have to replace in this f of d, you replace every d by m and equate it to 0. I suppose you are understanding my point. See here, the bracket whatever you are having, that is your f of d. Okay, the bracket terms whatever you are having, that is your f of d. Okay, in this you have to replace every d by small m, like this, m square. So in place of d you are writing m, so it is d square here, so it becomes m square, plus a1, it is d, so it becomes m over here, plus a2. Okay, no need to write this y. Okay, you are done. Directly equate it to 0. This is called the auxiliary equation. Auxiliary equation. Okay, I hope it is clear to all of you. So first we considered a second order linear differential equation. Replace d by dx by capital D, you get this equation. Take your common y, you get a bracket. From that bracket you consider that bracket, just replace every d by m. What? Every d by small d by capital D by small m. So it is d square here, so it becomes m square, plus a1 as it is. In place of d you are writing m, plus a2 as it is, equate it to directly 0. No need to write y, nothing. Okay, the equations this way, if you write in terms of m, this is called the auxiliary equation, okay, of a differential equation. Now you see it is quadratic in terms of m, is it not? Is it not a quadratic equation in terms of m? Yes, this is called the quadratic equation of m, and you have to solve for the roots of this equation. Okay, so since it is a quadratic equation, at most you will have two roots. Okay, say m1, I am going to let m be taking the value, say m1 and m2. Okay, m1 and m2. Okay, after getting the roots of this differential equation, now if it is a third, now by this time it should be clear to you that now if you are writing a cubic, if you are considering a third order linear differential equation, every dx cube by d by dx, if you are writing it as capital D, then you will have a first term as d cube. Is it not? Likewise, the auxiliary equation will be a cubic equation. Yes or no? Likewise, if you have a a fourth order linear differential equation, then the auxiliary equation will be biquadratic. Likewise, if you have fifth order linear differential equation, the auxiliary equation will also be of degree 5. Likewise, so the order of a linear differential equation is always equal to the degree of the auxiliary equation. Just remember this, that. Okay, now since you have a second order linear differential equation, you will have a quadratic equation like this, and since you have a quadratic equation, at most the roots of this equation can be 2. Is it not? So I am considering the roots to be m1 and m2. Okay, now there may arise different cases. Yes or no? The roots of a quadratic equation, they can be real and distinct, they can be real and equal, and they can be imaginary roots. Okay, you have learned the theory of quadratic equation before in your previous years. So according to that, the roots of a quadratic equation, they can be real and distinct, they can be real and equal, they can be imaginary. Okay, now for each case, how do you write the solution? We will be discussing, and we will be generalizing it step by step. Okay, now first of all, directly once we get the roots of this the roots of the quadratic equation, we proceed to write the solution. Okay, seeing the nature of the roots. Okay, so case 1 I will say. But before going to the writing the solution of, okay, after finding the roots, we write the solution of the differential equation as follows. Okay, now depending on the nature. Okay, so now depending on the nature, and also there is one important point that you must note. 1 minute. There is one important point that you must note, that okay, the solution of homogeneous linear differential equation is also called the complementary function. It's called the complementary function. Okay, so please make a note. The solution whatever will be deriving after finding the roots of the auxiliary equation, it is also called the complementary function. Okay, so that you have to remember always. Okay, so now let us discuss step by step. What if the nature of the roots is like they are real and equal? How will you write the solution? So all of you pay attention. It's very, very, very important. Okay. So since I told you, we directly write the solution seeing the nature of the roots. Okay. So what are the rules to write the solution after when you get the roots? Okay, that is what are the rules to write the complementary function or the solution of a homogeneous differential equation. So case 1, I'll say. Case 1, if the roots are real and distinct, the roots of the auxiliary equations, they are real and they are distinct. Means in the present case, m1 and m2 are real and m1 is not equal to m2, means the two are different roots, okay, of m. So if that is the case, then we write the complementary function or the solution, the general solution of the homogeneous linear differential equation. The general solution is denoted by yc. Complementary function means we write it as yc. I forgot to write that here. See, written as yc. Okay. So we write the complementary function as, please pay attention, it's very important. See, first root was m1 and the other root was m2. We write one constant c1 because it's a general solution. So there will be arbitrary constants. Okay, it's not a particular solution. It is a general solution of a homogeneous differential equation. This complementary function, whatever directly I am teaching you the rules. Okay, so what it is? C1, an arbitrary constant C1 into e to the power, exponential function, e to the power, what is the first root? m1. So we'll write m1 into x. The first constant C1 into e to the power, the first root into x, plus whatever root you get, that we have to write. Another constant C2 into another exponential function. Now this time m2, the second root, into x. I hope this is clear to you. Okay. First root into x plus C2 into e to the power m2, that is the second root into x. Okay. So both will bear both the parts of the solution will have exponential functions. And how will they be? Every x will be multiplied by the respective roots, and you are going to accompany each of the terms by arbitrary constant. C1 e to the power m1 into x plus C2 into e to the power m2 into x. Okay, so now this is the case when you have an auxiliary equation in quadratic form. If the auxiliary equation is in cubic form or it is of nth degree, okay, if the auxiliary equation is of nth degree, or you have in the beginning considered a nth ordered linear differential equation, then definitely the auxiliary equation will be of nth degree. Okay, so if you have n roots like this, in general, I'll continue it. In general, if there are n real and distinct roots, then we generalize the same thing and write yc as, you can write it as well referring the first pattern. So it is C1 e to the power, so I will call the n distinct root as m1, m2, I should name that as well, m3, so on, mn. Okay, n distinct roots, say they are like this, and they are all real and they are all distinct. Okay, so first C1 into e to the power m1 into x, plus, since there were two roots, so two terms. If there are n roots, n terms. So C2 e to the power m2 into x, the second root, plus the third root C3 into e to the power m3 into x. So you are going to accompany, yes, or each of the constants, go on accompanying the constants. Okay, plus Cn e to the power mn into x, the last root into x. So there are n distinct terms for n distinct roots, and n different constants appearing with them. Okay, so this is the way of writing a general solution of a linear homogeneous linear differential equation. It is also called as complementary function. This was the case 1. Now let us discuss the case 2. Case 2, I'll write it here only. If the roots are real and equal this time, if the roots are real and equal, that is m1 and m2 are real and m1 is equal to m2. Okay, so I shall erase all this once again to teach you directly here itself. Okay, it takes little time now. See, now here what is the case? The auxiliary equation we have found the roots, they both are real and but they are equal. In that case, what we do is we write first C1. We will not accompany any exponential term with this constant. Okay, C1 plus x into C2, I will say. Okay, 2 terms over for 2 roots. Complete this into e to the power. Since both of them are equal, I am going to call as a single value, say m. Okay, since both the roots are real and they are equal, I can call them as single value m. And this the way of writing the solution is, we'll first write the first constant as it is, C1 plus x into C2 into m into x. What is this m? The common value of the root. The two roots are equal, right? So we write the common root. Okay. So you have, if the two roots are real and if they are equal, you can represent them by a single value, say m, and write the solution as C1 as it is, no x, nothing, just a single constant, first term, plus, because it is repeated once, so only one x, C2, another constant, into e to power m to x, because you should have 2 terms for 2 roots. Okay, in general, if suppose you are having n real and equal roots, they are all real and they are all equal roots. That is, the meaning is to say that you have n real and equal roots. Say m1 is equal to m2 is equal to m3 is equal to so on is equal to mn. I can call it as single value m. Okay, all of them are real and they are all equal. In that case, how will you write the yc? Yc will be equal to, first I told you have to write C1, the constant C1. Okay, plus, since the root, the same m is repeated n times. Okay, so first C1 as it is, plus x into C2, plus x square into C3, plus x cube into C4, plus, you should have n constants also, no? Plus x to the power n minus 1. Look at that. If it was C2, it was n, x to the power 1. Likewise, if it is Cn, you should have x to the power n minus 1. Complete it. E to the power m, the common value of the roots, into x. I hope this is clear to all of you. If it was C1 plus x into C2 e to the power m into x, likewise C1 plus x C2 plus x square C3 plus x cube to the C4 plus so on. Write everything into e to the power x to the power n minus 1 Cn. Okay, because there are n real and equal roots. There are complete n roots. So that's why we have to write all the n terms. That's why Cn is been written proper, e to the power, complete the bracket, sorry, e to the power m into x. So this is the way of writing the complementary function whenever you are having real and equal roots. I hope this point is clear. Now let us move on to the final and the last case. Okay, that is, the roots are imaginary. Now what if the roots are imaginary? Say the roots are imaginary. So already you know the imaginary roots occur in conjugate pairs. Always remember, whenever the imaginary root occur, they occur in conjugate pairs. What do you mean by this? If p plus iq is a root, then p minus iq will also be the root of the same equation. Always remember that. Okay, now suppose for that second order linear differential equation, for that auxiliary equation which is quadratic, we got the two roots to be imaginary, something like this, p plus iq and another p minus iq. Say m1 is equal to this and m2 is equal to this, or I should say in just one case, in just one flow, say the roots are m is equal to p plus or minus iq. In this case, how will you write the YC, the complementary function? So pay attention all of you. It's very simple. Actually you write it as, it is as good as of case 1 only. Okay, you have imaginary and distinct roots, right? You can follow the same case and then derive a direct answer for it. Okay, so it is actually something like this: c1 into e to the power p plus iq into x plus c2 into e to the power p minus iq into x. I can just refer that and write it. Look at this, what do you get? c1 e to the power px into e to the power iqx I can write, plus c2 into e to the power px into e to the power minus iqx I can write. Okay, just remember this. Now e to the power px is common, get it outside. You are having c1 e to the power iqx plus c2 into e to the power minus iqx. Okay, but e to the power iqx is equal to cos qx plus I sin qx by Euler's formula, right? Cos qx plus I sin qx. By that formula, I can replace this as e to the power px c1 cos qx plus I sin qx plus c2, because it is minus here. If it is minus here, it will be minus in between here. Always remember that. So by that you can write cos qx minus I sin qx, like this. Now e to the power px, again constant outside. Now you see cos qx is here, cos qx is here. You can take that outside. c1 plus c2 you can write as cos qx again here, plus again c1 minus I c2 you can write into sin qx. Okay, now c1 plus c2 is another constant. I'll call it as a, or c1 dash I will say, c1 dash cos qx plus this constant x, because I is constant, c1 c2 they're all constant, I'll represent them as c2 dash sin qx. Okay, so what do you mean, what do you derive from this? You derive from this that, see here, you derive from this that if the roots are in the form p plus or minus iq, you just have to write the solution yc is equal to e to the power the real part of the root. What is the real part here? You see, whenever the complex number is given to you, there will be two parts. One will be real part, the other will be the imaginary part. What is the real part? The one which is independent of I is the real part. The one which is accompanied with I is the imaginary part. So here it is P, the real part. Here Q is the imaginary part. So what we are, how we are going to write the YC? YC we write it as e to the power the real part of x, e to the power p into x, the real value of the root into x, the real part of the root into x, in the bracket an arbitrary constant c1 cos of the imaginary part of x in imaginary part of the root into x plus c2 into sine of the imaginary part of the roots into x. So this is the complete way of writing the solution whenever the roots are imaginary. Okay, now this is the case when the roots are imaginary, okay, for any quadratic equation. In general, how will you write? Okay, if suppose these roots are repeated n times, in case if m is equal to plus p plus or minus iq is repeated n times. So if those roots are repeated n times, in general, how will you write the solution yc? Yc you write it as first e to the power px, this is same everywhere, c1 plus x c2 plus x square c3 plus so on plus x to the power n minus 1 cn into cos qx plus c1 dash plus x c2 dash, another constants, c x square c3 dash plus so on plus x to the power n minus 1 cn dash sin qx. Okay, in general, if or in case if these roots are repeated n number of times, then you will follow this pattern. If it is repeated 2 times, only 2 terms will appear here. Okay, if it is only once, this is the case. If there are 2 times they are repeating, then you are going to continue it that way. Okay, so this completes the theoretical part of understanding how to get the solution of a homogeneous linear differential equation. Okay, next session will start with the problems. Till then, thank you.